Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about feeling lonely in no contact.
This is very common for us in no contact.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk about your situation with us, you can head to our website and book from there.
Yeah. Oh boy, no contact is so tough. And when you are not talking to the one person that you want to talk to and connect with and repair things with, it can be so incredibly difficult. You can just feel so overwhelmed with sadness and depression. You can just be beating yourself up, and it's like the only thing you care about is that connection. And it can feel incredibly lonely going through a situation like this.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we isolate ourselves.
True.
Sometimes we don't know who to go to.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this today because you're probably feeling lonely in no contact.
Mm-hmm. And some of you may not have a support system. For some of you in a relationship, you might have made your partner your entire support system.
Yeah.
And so when that relationship falls apart, you don't have anyone to go to, and that can feel very lonely. And sometimes we have almost that emotional dependency with our partner, that whenever we're going through anything difficult, we can go to them, we can talk with them about it, we feel emotionally supported. So when the breakup happens, we have all of these emotions from the breakup that are no longer our partner's responsibility.
Yeah.
They have no place to go. So we're sitting with them alone, and it can feel so much heavier because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have listened to me for any length of time on this channel, you know that I talk about social support so much. And that's something that is so important after a breakup. And sometimes we have to learn how to rebuild a social support system after a breakup.
Yeah.
We have to learn how to find the right people to go to, how to trust others, how to be able to be vulnerable with others, and that can be really scary. And it can also be a time-consuming process.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes after a breakup, when we realize, man, I don't really have that many close friends, we start to talk to the mailman about our breakup. We start to talk to anybody who's around about it just to get it out.
Yeah.
And so I highly encourage you, if you're watching this, to find community. It's one thing that can really help save you after a breakup.
Yeah, the tough thing is that when you want to talk about the breakup, people naturally want to give you advice. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna usually give you advice that you won't hear on the channel. Okay?
That's a good way to put it.
Okay. And, people aren't experts in breakups. Many people are gonna see that you're hurting. They're going to try and protect you. They're going to say bad things about your ex, or they're never going to come back. You just got to move on. So it's tough because you want to reconnect with other people, but you're only wanting to talk about the breakup. And then you're going to be talking to a lot of people that are going to give you bad advice about the breakup.
Right.
So it's not easy to go through that.
Mm-hmm. And when you're going through a breakup, you're feeling lost and looking for direction. So a lot of you can be susceptible to it. Many of you who even do repeated coachings with us in between will start to listen to friends and family and say, well, I heard what you said, but then, I also had talked to so-and-so and they suggested this and it didn't go that way. And so sometimes we can be confused and we're just trying any approach that's thrown at us. So this is why we have the channel. This is why we talk about a lot of different scenarios to try to help you have some sort of guidance and some sort of direction.
Yeah. Now, everybody's in a unique situation as far as their social support and their friends. I was very fortunate where I always have had really good friends that I could talk about this stuff and open up to. But I've talked to so many people over the years that don't feel like they can talk to their family, their parents, their friends about their situation. That's an awful feeling, that you feel like no one even is willing to talk to you about it. And, they don't have the patience for it, or their patience is wearing thin. They were like, oh, we've been talking about this for 3 months now, and you still want to talk about it? Get over it.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
No. You may even start to feel like a burden to
Yeah.
your friends and family. You might start to feel bad and start thinking, well, I've been talking about the same thing. I can start to tell that they don't want to hear about it. They keep changing the subject. My friends are spending less and less time with me because I'm going through this breakup.
Yep.
And so that can also weigh heavy on you when you're starting to notice other people distance because of the amount of pain that you're in.
Yep.
So this can be something that's extremely difficult. And you may not be able to rely on friends and family in certain situations. Sometimes they may not even know that you were in a relationship. And I see this in certain religious communities where maybe certain relationships are frowned upon. I see this in the queer community where sometimes they're not openly out. And so only a limited amount of people even know about the relationship, much less the breakup. And so you feel like you don't have anybody that you can truly confide in, and that can be really difficult.
Yeah.
So I always keep going back to community. And I think we are blessed to be in our day and age on one end because we have access to a lot of different online communities in which, we can find people that we can connect with. So
Yeah. And like in our videos, you'll see thousands of comments of people going through a breakup. And so you might be able to, put messages on there with people that are struggling, or have people put messages and comments on things that you're talking about. It's tough because you know that they're going through it. But one of the things you do have to be careful of is I see a lot of people that have personality disorders are very hurt and very angry. And a lot of the times they're the most vocal. Okay. You may see 6 or 7 comments by one person on one video, and they're all extremely negative. You're going to see a lot of nevers and always and used you and didn't care about you. And you might want to comment, tell us about your mother. Okay. Right?
Well, yeah, in certain situations, it depends. We do see a lot of you interacting with different posts of situations that you might relate with, and that's something that we do like to see is for those of you who do feel vulnerable enough and do feel comfortable enough with sharing your stories. We see many of you write out your entire breakup story and other people able to provide support, able to provide words of encouragement. So that's really what we like to see on the comment section.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, I had a friend that that was in the service industry, and he said the people that are hurting and the most angry are always the most vocal.
Yeah.
So you might have 100 positive people, but the one vocal one is going to be the extremely negative one, and that kind of impacts the 100 positive people that see that comment.
Yeah. You have to be able to use your own discernment. And as you are trying to find community, as you are trying to find those who you can confide in and trust, you really want to think about the qualities that it takes to be able to open up to somebody like that.
Yep.
And so that's what we hope for you. And many of you do find comfort in finding others who are also going through breakups. Many of you find comfort in talking about somebody else's breakup stories. Maybe it is friends and family in your life. Well, Mom, didn't you go through a really difficult separation in your life? What was that like for you?
Yeah.
Or, being able to converse with others and hear their stories, to be able to feel connected in that pain. You're going through this pain and you feel very isolated, but we promise you there's other people who are going through similar situations, maybe even not so similar situations, but that heartbreak is a universal experience.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can do is, and this is probably Margaret's favorite, get a dog.
Get a dog, yes.
Victoria used to sit with Margaret for a long time, probably a couple of years.
Right? We would do calls together.
Yeah. And did she say it every call?
Oh, almost. Do you have a dog? Do you by chance happen to have a dog?
Get something fluffy. If you can't get a dog and you want a cat, get something fluffy.
She would say that. She would say, it's going to be wagging its tail whenever you come home. Somebody who's excited to see you no matter what, loves you unconditionally.
Yep.
And Margaret had a lot of dogs, for those of you who don't know. You walk in her house, and before you can even get to Margaret, you got to go through her 5 dogs.
It was usually 4 or 5, right? It'd be like, 3 Shelties and a little poodle.
But animals are amazing for your mental health. There's actually researched therapies that are, the whole focal point is animals. There's equine therapy with horses.
Yeah.
There are therapy dogs.
We talked about cow cuddling.
Yeah, we did. I used to volunteer at a children's organization, and there would be people part of a dog therapy organization that would come and bring the dogs, and the children loved them.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah, that's a good one. You could get involved with community, okay? Volunteering, maybe you volunteer at a place where you're seeing people struggle or going through hardships, and that can give you some purpose and feel good that you're helping other people. A lot of times when we can take that energy off of ourselves and onto helping other people, we feel really good about it, right? So volunteering, hobbies. I know hobbies are tough.
Hobbies can be tough.
Normally you probably love your hobbies, but when you're going through the breakup, you're like, I don't care about that anymore. It doesn't matter. But try and find the joy in your hobbies again.
And I would say think about your love languages in terms of hobbies too. So if you're more of a words person, maybe getting involved in something like poetry or writing can be helpful. If you're someone who's a physical touch type of person, maybe dance. I'm a huge advocate for dance. Dance can be something that's helpful. If you have, other hobbies, gift giving, maybe you can join some gift exchange groups. So there's plenty of things out there, like I had said, especially in the day and age of the internet, to where you can get involved with. And sometimes you just need that little bit of a push. And sometimes you need a little bit of discipline to stick with it before those connections really develop to, something a little bit deeper. So if you find, man, I volunteered twice at this thing and not really anybody that seems to connect with me, stick with it.
Yeah.
And it also takes you being able to be a little bit vulnerable first too. So we always are able to meet others where we have met ourselves. So if you're able to find that comfort in yourself, if you're able to be vulnerable and real with yourself, you will be more likely to do so with someone else. And also in doing that, you're also giving them permission to be vulnerable and comfortable with you.
Yep.
So you can't expect intimacy without any effort. You can't expect intimacy right when you say, hi, nice to meet you. But it is something that's built over time.
Absolutely.
Right. Also being present and focusing on mindfulness. This is something that's really important when we're feeling lonely, because a lot of times we aren't alone. A lot of times we go to work, we're surrounded by people. We go to the grocery store, we're surrounded by people. And I know this can also be a cultural thing. In certain cultures, it might be taboo to talk to someone sitting next to you. Norway. But in some cultures, it's something that's super normalized. And so I would say take some healthy social risks to be able to talk to the people who are already around you.
Yep.
And that can be something that's helpful. For those of you who don't know, I lived in Norway for a couple years.
Yeah.
And so I'm not just hating on Norway out of nowhere, just want to let you know that.
She's hating it for a reason.
No. Norwegians are super friendly people. I just want to say that.
That's not what you said. I'm just kidding.
And like I have kept repeating over and over again in this video, use technology. There's plenty of groups out there.
Yeah.
Of course, you're not going to connect with everybody that you meet online. However, it can be another avenue if, let's say, you live in a very small town, or let's say you're, in a part of a community where maybe there's not as many people in your area that are involved in that. So.
Just be careful with online communities. You remember, you don't really know that person. It takes time to get to know them. Be very, very careful.
Yes.
There are a lot of people online that have personality disorders and mood disorders, and they will be very vocal in how to live your life, telling you how to live your life, but they're not living their life in a healthy way themselves.
Right, or scammers. So
Oh, scammers too. That's true.
just be mindful.
And another big one, this is great, is connecting with old friends. And I'm not talking about old friends. I'm talking about old friends. Oh, and old friends. Go to the nursing home and connect with old friends.
Maybe you could.
Yeah, that's great. Because those are people that you've had a lot of experience with. You know who they are. You know how trustworthy they may be. You know about their life. And so you know maybe how stable they are. And, it's nice to share experiences with people that you have cared about in the past.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being able to revitalize maybe some of those friendships that you've lost during the relationship. Maybe you've ignored a couple calls. Maybe you've let some friends fall to the wayside. It's great to be able to reconnect with those.
Yeah.
Also diving into self-love, right? So sometimes this is not
that
for,
using technology?
It can be. It can be, depending on how you look at it. It can be. But for some of you, being alone and feeling lonely can be related to not being comfortable with yourself and not being able to enjoy time with yourself. And so some of you find a lot of your value and a lot of your worth with being in a partnership. Some of you find your liveliness in being with a partner. So being single can challenge that a lot. So for some of you, self-love can be something that really changes your perspective of time alone, really changes your perspective of even loneliness. So
all right, so hopefully this one's been helpful for you. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever I can be helpful.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.